This is the brand new Arada M series. We've gone for it with a log store just because I thought it was a bit more fun. But this is our unboxing come first impressions. I've not even seen one of these on display, so it really is a first time I've ever seen it, and it does have a strange handle. Please like and subscribe. This is a bit of a change for Arada, but you know, I don't think I've seen it on any other stoves either. This handle is well, it appears to be like a click close. And my sort of initial reaction is it doesn't take much to open it. When I was putting it in the fireplace, every time I wiggled it, the stove would come open. But to be fair, I was sort of leaning it forward and leaning it backwards, and maybe that's sort of more than a stove ever in operation would have to put up with. But yeah, there ain't much holding it closed. So I'm interested in, I might have a word with the manufacturer and see, you know, whether that poses any issue at all. Presumably it's been tested, but yeah, that just sort of unnerves me. That's it.
Nobody does that to their stove.
I know. I know they don't. It just sort of, you know.
You're worried, like, if a log fell on the door that it would knock it open?
Yeah, it's like, or if, you know, like you had a downdraft on your chimney, and, you know, a bit of, like, you know, you got your door closed, and like, if every day you're coming home the door's open, it's probably because air's trying to move down the chimney. And just, you know, that, you know, I lent that at like a 10-degree angle. It's not much. And that's just, obviously it's got a heavy cast iron door, which is a good thing, but it's that sort of pulls it out.
I think it looks quite sleek though.
Yeah, there's no, yeah, it is quite sort of plain, quite modern. Obviously these are like, that'll be air from below the fire.
Does that feel nice? It looks like it would feel nice.
Yeah,
the way it's moving.
There's no noise. It's quite sort of smooth. I wonder whether that sort of wears off when it's been used for a couple of months, but I don't know. But there's a DEFRA kit on here which looks like it's removable, so you could just undo that bolt and then you'd have the full control. But that air must be the air from above, keeping the glass clean and all that jazz. And then inside we get quality check, some other sort of general information, and a quick start guide. Welcome, blah blah blah, how to use the fire. Strangely, there's no installation instructions with it.
Are they online?
Must be. And then we've got I quite like that. That's quite a sort of heavy tool with their little logo in it.
That's nice.
And that looks like it goes. Ooh, hello. This is like the Charnwood Air that we tested, where like the whole, so it's a wood burner. There's no grate, but there is an ash pan. So the whole base of the stove lifts out. This is actually better built than the Charnwood one. Do you remember the Charnwood one? It was like thin and tinny.
Yeah.
That's like made out of, I'll make it up, it's either 2 or 3 mil steel. So, you know, it's a heck of a lot heavier. Obviously we've got a collar, the blanking plate that, you know, obviously if you use a top or a rear flue, because it comes with both. We get some nice gloves with Arada written on them. The old Arada gloves were rubbish. They really were sort of ugly and you only got one and they were just sort of bit pants. That actually looks quite nice, doesn't it? I quite like that.
Yeah, because of course if you're left-handed and you get a right-handed glove, it's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Obviously I am a lefty. So there's some air holes in this, and it looks like the air system does come up from the base. So that's quite interesting, because often with these big pieces of glass you get the sort of very edges going black. And because they've got the air coming up from not only down the glass but up the glass, maybe...
I reckon it will be quite clean.
I reckon it will be quite clean.
Yeah, because it's those bottom corners, isn't it? That if they're going to go, those are what go.
Yeah, they're always the one that goes all black. But that's quite nice. I see.
It's there now.
That's it. Hang on. So you get that out with the tool, and then you get out this back piece as well for some reason. So see, now that drops in properly, and then that goes in. Oh, flippin' heck.
I wonder what that's for.
Yeah. It's a little bit complicated.
Do you have to take that back pit out?
Well, see, I was trying to put it in, and this thing was stuck up like that.
Oh, because it had dropped down.
So now this has dropped down, and I can't get this thing in. So now I have to take that out. And that goes in. And then I have to... I can put it in by hand. I don't even know why that piece is there, but it's annoyed me. But I like the ash pan. And other than that, I mean, it's like, you know, the build is, sometimes Arada stoves are a little bit thinner than some, and this stove is not light, it's heavy. The thickness of the top plate, it's, you know, when I feel down through in here, the thickness of the top plate of the stove is about that. Where it's obviously got, you know, an air system built within it, but, you know, it doesn't feel cheap. It feels like they've used, as I say, the ash pan is 2 or 3 times the thickness of the Charmwood one. The steel is thick, it's flipping heavy. There's just a couple of design things which obviously we're going to use this stove and see how we get on with this handle, but it's only retained by a couple of springs. So you can
You've just got to use it and see
how you get on. Yeah. But of course, you know, moisture, that spring rusts and then the whole mechanism doesn't work anymore. Because they're 2 tiny little springs, and that back, but to be fair, that back piece, I'm sure, you know, from a warranty point of view, you're probably not supposed to do this, but I'm not going to fanny around with that. I'm just going to chuck it under the stove and forget about it. Because I just want to take the ash pan out and sling it back in and forget about it. That's all I want to do. And that bit at the back is just annoying. Either that or I want to cut it down so that it doesn't drop. That would just be such a simple fix, wouldn't it? just literally cut it so it's a tiny bit smaller, and then the ash pan just slots straight under it. What are you thinking?
Sorry, I'm just thinking you're being quite negative, and you're not normally, even though there are maybe things on other stoves that.
Yeah, things that way.
That's quite faffy as well.
Now try and get that off. Was I fair?
Yeah, no. Okay.
I don't think I was unfair.
No.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh because, to be fair, I haven't used it. I don't know. How it operates. As I say, I like the ash pan. Everything else is pretty standard. We've got, blanking plate, collar. We've got some little fixings for bolting the stove down to the floor. I believe that in Scotland, it's a requirement, a building regulation, that a stove has to be bolted to the floor. So that, to be fair, is a nice, cheap, simple idea. But if you live in Scotland, it's fantastic because nobody else gives you that. You have to just sort of make it up yourself. Either that, or I suppose lots of people probably don't comply with that rule. Maybe the rules changed. It certainly used to be the case. Stoves in Scotland had to be bolted down, so I quite like that. We've got some big, thick vermiculite bricks in there. They don't break. They just last 5 times as long. Like literally, sometimes 5 times as long, because you can imagine it's twice the thickness of a standard brick, and of course all that erosion and the chances of it breaking, they just last so much longer.
I think it's going to look really lovely when it's lit.
Yeah, I think with all that extra air from below and above, the look of this will probably be superb. Yeah, and I suppose for a lot of people, actually, this issue of like maybe, well, I don't know that there's an issue with the door coming open, but like, it's and to be fair, of course, all the ropes are really new and they need to bed in, and then probably once the ropes are bedded in, that will lock better. Yeah, because I can see it will lock better when the ropes are sort of flattened in a bit. So yeah, maybe I'm being unfair about that. But the ash pan thing isn't ideal. But again, maybe when you've got some ash in there, when it's all sort of bedded in, it probably just slots in. What do you think of the look of it? Obviously, as standard, it comes like that, so you don't really get legs on the stove. It's got like this very little sort of half moon cutout, and you can have it just like that on the floor, or you can have little legs, or you can have a small log store. Obviously, I've gone for the big one. Just because I thought, it's a bit of fun and we've got a tall fireplace. But what do you think of it?
All that's coming to my head from a cleaning point of view is that would be really hard if ash got under there to get out.
Well, a bit of Hoover.
But whether you get less ash because there's a smaller gap, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't imagine ash is going to be a problem, because anything that sits there, you're just going to Hoover off, aren't you?
Yeah, you know what it's like.
Yeah,
it does make its way under, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, we'll find out. We're going to use it, and we'll use it a lot before we review it, because I want to sort of experiment with this handle a little bit and experiment with a few bits and pieces. But
I'm quite excited to see it lit, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to look cool. Thank you very much for watching. Slightly controversial first impressions. Let's hope we recover when we review it. Thank you.